My name is Bo Nettleton. Most of y'all people know who I am. I was a county commissioner for over 20 years. I was Public Works with the city of Del Rio for over 6 years and with TxDOT for over 10 years. I understand how all the different government agencies function and work and what it takes to work together with them. My goal to accomplish is for us to come up with a master plan of how this community is going to grow. Where do we want things to be? How do we want to structure them? And how do we want to grow our community? And then put together a transportation plan of how our road infrastructure will be without interfering with our residential areas and allowing our commercial areas to grow. We have lots of restaurants being built in this community, but we need to bring in industry. If we're going to bring our youth back, we've got to bring in jobs. But we got to have a plan. The city, the county, the school district, and the community as a whole. It's not just the government agencies. It's all the citizens of Del Rio need to sit down and figure out what do we want our community to look like for the next 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And once we've accomplished that, then we can figure out how we're going to do it. You know, we continue to, I spend a lot of time in Austin working with legislators, and I hear the same thing. Be it working with TxDOT, be it working with legislators, is we all go up to Austin and everybody's asking for something different, and we wonder why Eagle Pass surpasses us. And that's why. We need to be on the same page. We need to work together to accomplish the same goals. Once we've done that, then this community will start growing in the direction we need to. Youth, for our youth to be able to have youth fields, for our ability to bring industry into Del Rio, our ability to grow things. You know, you see a fight right now over whether we do or we don't need an international bridge. We want it on the north, we want it on the south, we want it in the middle. Those conversations should have been had, and we should have resolved that a long time ago. I think we need to go back to the table and figure out how we're going to develop this community into what we want, and how we're going to work with our regional partners, be it Eagle Pass, be it Uvalde, and other areas, about how we're going to grow this community, this whole region as a whole. You know, many years ago, Valverde County was the sheep and goat capital of the world. Those days are long gone. Now we need to figure out how we're going to make it the tourism capital of the world. How are we going to enhance our tourism and grow the things that we need to grow to bring the people to Del Rio, so that we have those opportunities. The quicker we work on this and get our tax base expanded, the easier it is for the court to start reducing taxes, to start allocating money where it needs to go. I could sit here and talk all night about budgets, but we need the plan to figure out what our growth is going to be. And he just told me I have to stop. I'm not used to that. Yeah. There probably somebody when I was on Commissioner's Court would have liked to have that sign. My only objective here is to get us going in a direction and a plan of how this community grows. You know, we're talking about building roads in areas that have developed residential. We're talking about building residential in areas that need to be commercial. But it's a decision of the community. It's not a decision of the Commissioner's Court. It's not a decision of the City Council. It's not a decision of the school board. It's a decision of y'all. What do you want your community to look like in the next 30 years, 50 years, 100 years? We have to get in a room like this with the community and decide what we're going to do with our community and where we want it to go. The infrastructure part is simple. The road part is simple after you figured out how you're going to develop your community. You know, when you look at San Antonio, and I've sat through lots and lots of meetings in San Antonio with their military groups and their chambers and stuff like that, they've been planning that community for years. And they have their industries where they need to go. They planned when Kelly Air Force Base got closed. They had a plan in place on how they were going to develop that into something for their community, and we have to do the same. We have to bring quality of life to this community. We have a great Air Force Base here and a great opportunity to expand it, but quality of life is one of those things. You know, we've had, I don't know how many times on the ballots, sports complexes that have failed, and I'm just as guilty as everybody else. I don't think we involve the community as much as we should have in those processes and got the input. My objective here is, before I leave office, if I get elected, is this community will have a plan for the growth of its community that is bought into by the citizens of this community, and a transportation plan on how we're going to move our traffic around. We all drive down Veterans Boulevard, and if you are like me, you're mad all the way from one end to the other. We have to look at how we're going to do that, and projects like the extension of Kingsway out to the Loop, the extension of Amistad Boulevard out to the lake, the looking at, and these are just projects that come off that I've thought about for years. The extension of Vega Road all the way out through the dam that we can develop into commercial so we can put in hotels and restaurants. These are things that we need to have a conversation. My intention is to bring this community into a room together so we can start figuring out how we want our community to grow. Once we've figured that out, we can figure out the budget issues that go with it. We can figure out how we're going to do all those pieces, but we have got to figure out how we want this community to grow, or we're going to be sitting here 20 years from now saying, why is Eagle Pass still passing us? Because I can assure you, when they show up in Austin, Texas, they're not arguing with each other. They're all on the same page. And that's why they get what they get. We want an airline in Del Rio. Maybe we need to start considering a regional airline, working with Maverick County and Eagle Pass and Uvalde, and looking at things that will attract a large enough base that we can build a regional airport and hold it in Del Rio, Texas, or in this region. This is not just about the growth of Del Rio, this is about the growth of the region as a whole. We know Ports to Plains is coming through here. We've got to work with our partners across the river. If we're going to build a second international bridge, it's going to be real difficult to fund it with what's going on in Acuna. We have got to get the infrastructure on the Mexico side, into Monclova, down to Durango and Torreon, to be able to divert that traffic out of Eagle Pass and Laredo. And that's a lot of work that needs to be done. And we need to look at, before we run off and build a $250 million project, what we need to do an origin to destination study. Where's it coming from and where's it going, and is Del Rio a viable option? And if it is, then what kind of infrastructure do we need to get it built and move it where we need it to go?